Today on Downtown Now, join us as we sit down with Walmart's Executive Vice President of Corporate Affairs, Dan Bartlett, to discuss Walmart's future and Bartlett's time at the White House.
As you know, any good communications, you have to have a good story to tell. And Walmart has a pretty good story to tell.
Next, exploring the archives. Downtown Now gets an exclusive behind-the-scenes tour of Walmart's illustrious history and artifacts. But first, a small 5 and dime shop that got its start in Bentonville, Arkansas, gets a massive upgrade. Join us as Walmart unveils its new home office. You're watching Downtown Now, sponsored in part by Arkansas Federal Credit Union.
Hello and welcome to Downtown Now. Thank you for joining us. I'm Dana.
And I am Aaron. This is the first episode of season 5. And Dana, do you mind if I brag on our show for just a moment?
No, I love that actually.
Last season, we were nominated for an Emmy, very fortunate. And we decided to do things absolutely huge in season 5 as a result. So we're going bigger and better, continuing to tell the stories that make Bentonville the greatest town in America.
So we're moving on. Did you know?
Okay.
In 1971, Walmart built its home office here in Bentonville. About a decade ago, they decided they needed a bigger home office. But after 54 years here in our city, they knew they weren't going to leave.
It's a great way to honor Sam and Helen Walton, and the fact that this building is named after him means a lot to us.
All right, so we're currently located inside the Welcome Center and the Spark Shop, getting all your logoed Walmart gear. Over the next 12 months, the retail giant plans to open 12 new buildings. It's going to house thousands of associates, many of those associates calling Bentonville their permanent home.
Yes, and Downtown Now is invited to the grand opening of the Sam Walton Hall. This state-of-the-art
So cool.
1,500-seat auditorium is really something special. 7 years in the making. The next chapter for Walmart continues where it all started, in Bentonville, Arkansas.
Welcome to Walmart's new home office. We're glad you're here. Come on in. Keep coming in. We're happy to have you all.
This isn't a celebration of the past exclusively. It's a moment for us to think about what the future can look like. And it does feel to me like in many ways this company is just getting started.
Over the next several months, the new Walmart home office and its 350 acres of buildings, unique parking garages, and beautiful shared spaces will open.
I know I speak for our entire state when I say how grateful I am that Walmart has stayed true to its roots through all of the years. You've never turned your back on Bentonville, Northwest Arkansas, or the entire state that we're lucky enough that you call home. And we will certainly always return the favor.
The state-of-the-art campus represents a multi-billion-dollar investment that the company says seamlessly integrates with downtown Bentonville.
This is going to be everybody's campus, not just Walmart Associates campus. It's one of the really exciting parts about it.
Right here, in a city CEO Doug McMillon says will always be part of the Walmart story.
They didn't take 10 seconds to decide we're going to be here in Bentonville. This is our home.
Nestled in between the buildings and structures is a winding path of nature. Big nature, as the world's biggest retailer calls it, including 7 miles of pedestrian paths and, true to Bentonville, bike trails, rentable bikes, and more than 1,000 bike parking spots. What's born in Bentonville will remain, as Walmart has no plans to move from the city where their story began. All right, Aaron, it's time to play my favorite game. Did you know?
It surely is. It is your absolute, undeniable favorite game.
Did you know that this 350-acre campus has 13 acres of ponds and lakes?
That is a ton of water.
It sure is, and it's here not only for the beauty around campus, but also for sustainable water management.
All right, so let's move from 8th Street here at the new home office, go back downtown to the Bentonville Square, where the iconic museum and 5 and Dime is currently being renovated. It's going to open to the public in just a little bit, but Downtown Now was given exclusive access inside the Walmart archives. You got to see this to believe. Some of the things that are still around from Mr. Walton. Kurt Templeton joins us as the director of the Walmart Museum. Kurt, this is amazing. Thank you for allowing Downtown Now to come in and be a part of this, the archives here.
We're going through an amazing restoration project. We're so excited to bring that to life back on the square. We've got some really cool stuff up here we want to show you. That's the original 5.
From the 5 and dime off of Main Street.
From the building 70 plus years ago. Mr. Sam always said our people make the difference. And that's what our museum is for. It's for our associates, it's for the community, it's for people coming to visit.
All right, before we leave this location, you did promise that we could do something that not a lot of people get to do.
Let's go behind the door.
As Downtown Now is taking us inside the archive. I can't even get in yet. Kirk's got to beat
All right, I got a badge. All right, here you go.
All right, this is awesome.
This is where we store things for safekeeping. This is where everything's behind double and triple locked and climate controlled and all that. But we can't wait to bring all this back exactly as it was, only just a little bit better.
So I heard a little rumor
Okay.
that there were some things that have been recently found in the truck that we just walked over there. So kind of walk me through what we saw.
So our head archivist and corporate historian, Nick Graves, was in the truck. He was dusting. He'd reached under the glove box, and he found one of Mr. Sam's screwdrivers. He found a key. We think this might have been a spare key to Miss Helen's Chrysler. We found a note here. This is James's jacket.
Do we think this is Mr. Sam wrote this?
Well, I'm not a handwriting expert yet.
We're going to say he did.
But I bet Nick could confirm. We have an international restaurant that Mr. Sam or somebody who hunted with him had been to.
Wow.
And this job every day is you discover something, or somebody calls and says, I have this thing, or I have this story, and that's what makes this job so amazing.
Kurt, back on the square now.
Yep.
It's real.
Wow.
This is the first time you've seen the sign.
That's amazing.
We're knocking on the door.
It's close. It's close.
I will never forget going behind that wall, having to scan a code. I didn't even get the code.
Yeah.
They scanned their card, they went in, and we saw things that legitimately were sitting on Mr. Sam's desk so many years ago. So cool. Gonna be at the 5 and Dime here in just a little bit.
And let's continue the conversation with Walmart's Dan Bartlett. That's up next, and he's going to talk about not only the vision for this campus, but also staying true to Walmart's roots. Well, it's no doubt that Walmart's new 350-acre campus here in Bentonville is changing the landscape. We sat down with Walmart's Dan Bartlett to hear how this massive project is still staying true to its roots. That's today's Downtown Conversation.
Dan, I usually start an interview by saying, thanks for being here, but I'm here visiting
Welcome.
you. So yeah, you want to
It's great to
welcome me?
have you. Thank you for being here.
Well, we want to talk a little bit about your career. And over the last decade, over a decade, you've shaped stories for the biggest company in the world, which has not only driven news cycles, but changed perceptions. So I want to ask you a very basic question. I'm in communications. How do you do that?
Well, I wish it was a simple answer to that. The thing is, any good communications, you have to have a good story to tell. And Walmart has a pretty good story to tell. We've been going through quite a bit of transformation in the company over the last 10 years as the world's changed about how consumer behaviors, the company has to change itself. And that's one of the things that we learned most from our founder, Sam Walton. Change was a big element of everything. He was constantly looking at competition and making sure that we're staying relevant.
So you bring up the word change, and a big story you're telling right now focuses on this new campus, 350-acre campus. I'm going to quote you. In 2020, you told the NWA Council, the easiest part of the conversation has been that we never considered leaving Bentonville. For those of us who grew up here, we appreciate that so much. What are you hoping a message like that tells the rest of the world about the roots that Walmart has established in Bentonville?
Yeah, it's a great question because, as you could probably imagine, there are a lot of states who are very competitive about attracting companies like Walmart, and they can promise tax incentives and those things. And of course, every once in a while, you take a look at those things and say, hey, does it still make sense for us to be here? It's really a quick conversation, as I said back then, for us, because one of the things we think is unique about Walmart is our culture. And our culture is very tied to our founder. And our founder is very tied to Bentonville. And it's hard for us to see a scenario in the future where if we extracted ourselves from Bentonville and from Northwest Arkansas, that we would be undoing something really special, the special formula that has worked for so long. So if something that's worked that long and that well, why'd you go about changing it? What we hope to do is be consistent with that. Stay true to the principles and values that not only have made Walmart special, but have made Bentonville special, but also have the types of things from a modern day campus that we think are necessary for us to compete in a very competitive global market.
So you're talking about the modern day campus, and I'm feeling this excitement about this campus around town. And I want to ask you personally, what are you most excited about?
Well, then I'm still here to see the end of it because we've been doing it for like 6 years now. And usually the people who get put in charge of big projects like this rarely get to see the end of it. So I'm just glad I'm still here.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. I guess the most exciting part about it is how one of the big design features we had was, companies, I think historically, you've seen around the country, sometimes build their corporate campuses that's almost walled off from the community and protected from the community. And what this one will be, and what this new home office experience is going to be very integrated into the community. And the Razorback Trail is going to run right through the heart of it. It's going to be open to the public. We're going to have a hotel that's going to be for our employees, but also for the public. We're going to have mixed-use retail on 8th Street that's going to be open to the community. And things like that are just exciting for us because we do know that when our associates are comfortable in their personal lives and their professional lives, they're going to give their full potential. And that's what we're looking for. And we think this new campus in Bentonville is going to help us reach our full potential.
Okay, I want to pivot a little bit to some of your time in public office. Before you joined Walmart,
it looks better in the rearview mirror.
Sure. Before you shaped Walmart, you shaped powerful stories at the White House, including President Bush's calm, determined first messages to the nation on 9/11. Just want to hear what those moments were like for you.
That whole experience for me was extraordinary. It's a privilege to be able to serve the country, but obviously to be able to be in a position like I was during such a historic time in our country and in the world history, still kind of is like a pinch yourself moment, and still feels almost surreal that I was involved in it. And so to be able to play a small role in helping, shape that narrative in the hours and days after 9/11, helping the country and the world, for that matter, to come together under a common cause was, a real privilege and one that I'll never forget. And every year that I love that the country takes a step and pauses on 9/11 to remember those we lost, and to do it in a way that gives me an opportunity to obviously reflect on all of those memories. And obviously I stay in communication with my old boss, my President Bush, and other former colleagues. And so it was a very cherished moment in my life to be able to be a part of something so historic.
I first saw you in a documentary. You were telling a story that many of us would find very surprisingly relatable.
Oh no.
It's the moment you were on Air Force One. It's September 11th, and you had to seek medical attention because you took all the pills.
Obviously we were very preoccupied with the events of the day, and there was a lot of confusion. You hear a lot about the fog of war, and there was a lot of miscommunication or a lot of erroneous information coming in about planes that were still in the air that might be hostile. We had fighter jets scrambled that were sitting on the wingtips of Air Force One, which typically wasn't the case. We thought when we left Florida we were going back to Washington, D.C., but that's when the Pentagon was hit. And there were still hundreds, if not 1,000, commercial aircraft in the air. And so it was a very tense time period. But as the day unfolded and we had made some stops, as it's been recorded, and we were on our way back to Washington, D.C., where the president was going to address the nation from the Oval Office. And so we're on Air Force One, and there's a big conference room in the heart of the plane where we were working on his speech to the nation. And the medical staff who treats the president, but also treats the senior staff around the president, was going through their protocols, which was to make sure they didn't know, as we didn't know. Was this the first phase of an attack?
Right.
Was this it? We didn't know. We didn't know if there was going to be chemical or biological attacks. All the things we knew at that time, that by that time of the day, that this was Al-Qaeda. We knew that Al-Qaeda had aspirations of big events like what happened at the World Trade Center, but we also knew that the chemical and biological warfare was something that was on their minds as well. So as a preventive measure, the medical staff gave each of us a series of pills. You know, that your mom always tells you, just pay careful attention to the instructions.
Read the label.
Read the label. Yeah, I didn't. I thought I'd heard what he said, and I guess I thought it was just like a potpourri of various pills today, so I just took the pills. And I remember throwing the sleeve down, and I was like, and I looked up, and I was like, I don't quite see anybody else doing the same thing. And I was like, so I reached down, and then I read it, and it says take one pill each day for the next 6 days.
That feeling.
There was a whole series of me going to the medical staff. At first, they thought I was kidding. I was just like, no, I'm not kidding. And I was under the impression that within minutes I'd be getting my stomach pumped, which they thankfully didn't have to do. And obviously, I survived through the process. But I think he gave me a bottle of Pepto-Bismol, and he said, drink all this. And that was, and I thought for one of the world-class doctors in the world who's treating the president, it might have been a more sophisticated remedy to the coach. But no, it was just good old-fashioned Pepto-Bismol. And so here I am today to embarrassingly retell the story. My kids get a real kick out of it, but yeah, it wasn't one of my finest moments, that's for sure.
Thank you for being here to tell the story.
Yeah, exactly.
Quick, last question. What's the next story that you want to tell for Walmart?
Oh, wow. You know, obviously next year is a big year for us here locally. And as, you know, the first associates are moving in December, this past December. And each month of this year is like going to be a new box to open, because each office building almost on a month-to-month basis. And so it's going to take almost the entire year for us to fully populate the new home office. And so telling that story in real time and letting our associates tell that story and let the community interact with it. So there'll be plenty of things for Walmart to be involved in when it comes to how we serve our customers. But I would say closest to my heart is obviously the story of the new home office and unveiling this real, I think, which is going to be an enduring symbol in this community for generations to come. We took the long view in how we built this. If this is something that 50, 60 years from now, people will still be proud of. And so to me, that's where my excitement lays.
You tell the story well. The associates around town are telling the story right now, because I hear a lot of, I'm a July, I'm moving in March, so there's a lot of excitement.
Yeah.
We'll follow you guys along the way, and thanks for having me here.
It's my pleasure.
In your studio today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice
Anytime.
And while we're talking about new campuses and new features here in Bentonville, we also want to introduce you to a new team member here at Downtown Now and a new feature that you're going to love. That's next.
Downtown Now is a 3-person team.
It is.
Behind the camera, we've got a brand new guy named Kyle Yazzie. We got to bring him in front of the camera too. And look, every story has a highlight and a low light, but today,
A Kylight.
Thank you so much. We are here at the Spark Shop. We got a bunch of stuff to look at. We got hats, t-shirts, hoodies. Come along with me. Let's grab the best stuff. And there's so many great things that you can grab. I mean, you could grab a hat, you could grab a t-shirt, you can get a bag. Great thing to get if you are going to the farmer's market in Bentonville. Gotta get yourself a drink. If you're thirsty, if you need some water, grab yourself this. Forget your Stanley. I'm gonna go ahead and grab this Walmart thing right here. I'm gonna try on this hat right here. Great looking hat. Looks really good. Definitely gonna grab this backpack right here. Gotta rock a beanie right here, so I'm gonna take off this hat, go for the beanie. Socks, gotta definitely grab the socks. Gonna put that in my bag right here. Oh my gosh, we gotta have these. Look at these Walmart branded headphones to drown out all the noise. Definitely gotta go with these. Gotta get myself a polo, nice white one right there. White logo, another great thing right there. Gonna get dressed up over here, got my beanie on. Nike apparel, gotta definitely get yourself one of these. I'm gonna get a white one, get a blue one, get a hoodie right here. Yeah, I love that. Yep, that's the Kylight. Long sleeve, it's cold out here. You gotta get your stuff, get your hat right here, You can wear it with your beanie if you want. More polos. Love the white polo right here. Why not? Let's go ahead and go with some pins. Get your coffee mug right here. Cheers. There you go. Not much of a bag guy, but I love all of these choices right here. These are definitely highlights.
That dude went shopping for like an hour when we weren't here. And I promised him I would get him something while he was here. I got him some Walmart socks.
And that was the highlight of the show as we
Kyle.
hit the end of Downtown Now. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Kyle, for giving us a fashion show today. We'll see you next Sunday.